the things don't work. Can can you hear us now? Can you hear us now?
The mics are loud, but it's the receiving.
Um, this is absolutely amazing.
Kevin,
Yes.
look, look.
Yes. Yes, it's since it since it goes through multiple platforms, it streams on multiple platforms, it's showing that there's multiple people commenting. Can you hear us? Can anyone hear us? Can anyone hear us? Can anyone hear us? Is there audio? Is there audio?
Michael says he can hear us now.
Okay. All right. Michael, thank you very much. Okay. Here we go. Let's start this over.
Can you turn this mic down just a little bit?
Holy crap. No, I can't. Okay, guys. Again, welcome to Fortis Defense Live. With this being a live production, there technology sometimes works against you. So you can start out a few hours putting this, trying to get everything set up, everything ready to go. But bigger than anything, something will happen that will make a fool of you. So anyhow, with us being live, we don't have the luxury of editing and making sure everything looks pretty and what have you. This is live. So, anyhow, again, I'm Kevin. Welcome to Fortis Defense Live. This is our 4th episode. And again, with me today, I have my lovely, beautiful wife, Angela. She's going to be my co host today. So, first off, before we get started, one, I don't want this to last as long as the other two have lasted. An hour. I want it to be somewhat short. But with that being said, once I start talking, I tend to keep going. Maybe it's just a nervousness thing. I don't know. Anyhow, so first off, I want to thank everyone who has watched. Everyone who has liked the videos, shared the videos. This is a work in progress, guys. So I'm not an expert at this. So, it's something that we just have to work through and
Hey, you're rattling on.
all right, clown. So anyhow, first, again, thank you guys. If you have any ideas that, you feel that could make it better or something that you would like to see different on here, let us know because, we're wanting to make it as good as possible. So anyhow, with that being said, my wife's trying to push me right along here. Today, a couple things we're going to talk about. First off, we're going to field some questions, some recent questions. Well, actually, not necessarily recent questions, but questions that we get asked quite often. Also during our podcasting and or during our live stream, people will ask us, will send us questions and stuff like that. So, anyhow, we're going to field some of those. We got about 3 or 4 we're going to talk about, and then we're going to talk about one of the steps of our church security program. So, with that being said, I'm going to let Angela quit giving me the big eye. Angela, give me
Okay.
the first
You
question.
hush. All right. So our online course, I think everybody knows that we offer an online course for license to carry. With that course, we get a lot of questions. So I think there's no way we could cover all the questions, but one of the most common questions, I think, it comes to mind because of I can remember a phone call you took from a nice lady. Wasn't she around Houston? The lady who called and said, I have taken your course.
Um, are you talking about the one that came out? And no, she was local, but I don't remember what town she was in. But she was local.
Okay, so
I think Tyler, maybe.
there was somebody who was further away. Anyway, long story short, is it's very easy to get misguided or get on the wrong path to a license to carry online because there are some out there that are not apples to apples. Some of them, there is I believe it's a Virginia handgun license. People think that they're getting a Texas license to carry.
Correct.
And it is, and they're caught up in the marketing, the propaganda of it, because it's like you can do it in a very, very, very short amount of time. And it seems the most appealing, although it is not a Texas license to carry license.
Correct.
It's another state. So can you explain how people can avoid getting hung up in that bait and switch there?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and very good question. I think the main thing to look for when you see an online course advertised on your computer, your phone, whatever the case may be, is if they call it a CCW. That's your first clue. It's not a Texas license to carry. Okay.
What does CCW mean?
CCW stands for Concealed Carry Permit, Concealed Carry Weapons Permit, something like that. It's not a Texas thing. It's a out of state deal. But that would be the first clue that it is not in Texas.
And also, what we call it a license to carry at this point.
Correct.
And before, it was a conceal and carry, wasn't it?
No, it was concealed handgun license.
There you go.
CHL. So the only thing that you'll ever see in Texas, it used to be called CHL, which stood for Concealed Handgun License. Now it is, since open carry went into effect, it's called LTC, License to Carry. The reason it's no longer CHL is because you can now open carry, so it's not a concealed handgun license. It's a license to carry. And one of the, just to kind of piggyback on that, another one of the questions we get that pertains to that, does the course cover both concealed carry and open carry? Yes. Like I said, the name changed, but that one license allows you to do both.
Okay. So a no-go is anything online, an online course that says it is a CCW, because that is not what Texas accepts. Correct. It doesn't acknowledge a CCW.
Well, now, just to break it down a little bit more, we do have a reciprocity with multiple other states. So, different states, they will call their, some of them call it a CCW and some of them call them some other things. But Texas does recognize out-of-state license. So they may recognize one that the state calls it a CCW. However, a majority of the advertisements that you see online that are advertising a CCW are scams. Okay.
Now, hold on. You said Texas accepts outside licenses.
Yes, it's called reciprocity.
Okay, so it acknowledges them.
Most of them, yes.
Okay, so if you are a Texas resident, can you get an out-of-state license without that state's address?
Are you talking about, so if you live in Texas, have like a Virginia handgun license?
No, if you live in Texas and you get an online course for a state that is accepted in Texas,
mm-hmm.
You can't. How can you get that license without a state address? Like, let's say Arkansas, right? Let's just
mm-hmm.
say Arkansas has a license that we accept as Texas, as a state.
And we do.
And we live in Texas. I mean,
mm-hmm.
you live in Texas, you have a Texas address.
Mm-hmm.
So if you apply for the license in Arkansas, how does that work if you have a Texas license? Do you have
applying,
to have...
Okay, I see what you're saying. You're applying to that state. You're applying as an out-of-state resident, as a non-resident. So you'll get a non. It's basically a non-residence license. So just like you don't have to live in Texas to have a Texas license to carry, you can live in a different state, or you can have a different state's driver's license. The only thing that you would need to do is there's different forms that you have to provide when you do your application.
Okay. So if you're looking for a state license within
mm-hmm.
Texas, it does not need to say CCW. It is an LTC.
If you're looking for the Texas handgun license, yes.
Okay.
Do not choose one that says CCW.
Okay. Do you have anything else to follow up with that before I ask you another question?
No.
Okay,
if you have any questions about that,
you're done.
If you're wondering if it's legit.
That's all the time you had. You're good.
Yes, dear. Continue.
Okay, so along with the another question about carrying, one of the one of the highest asked questions, the most asked questions that I've heard you talk about is what caliber can you carry?
Okay, so again, a very good question. We get this question a lot, especially before they come do their qualifications and stuff. Um, First, to do your license to carry qualification, you can now qualify with anything from a 22 caliber or higher. Okay, you can qualify with a revolver or semi-automatic. What the law used to be was if you qualified, well, first of all, the law was a 32 caliber or higher previously, and if you qualified with a revolver, you could only shoot with a revolver, or you could only carry a revolver. But if you qualified with a semi-automatic, you could carry both a revolver or a semi-automatic. The law has since changed on that, so now you can qualify with a 22 caliber revolver or semi-automatic, but you can still carry a Desert Eagle on your side, or whatever you want to carry. But you can qualify with anything from a 22 caliber or higher, revolver or semi-automatic. And if you qualify with the revolver, you're not limited to carrying a revolver with your concealed handgun license. So, or your license to carry. So you can.
So your options have opened up there.
Yeah, your options have opened up quite a bit. And one of the good things about actually qualifying with a 22 is, one, the ammo is
Cheap
is a little cheaper. It's a little easier to find, and two, you don't when you're taking your test, your qualification, you don't have the big bang, and you don't have the recoil. And it's easier for people to qualify. And another good thing is for people that have arthritis in their hands and what have you, carpal tunnel or anything like that, qualifying with a 22, because you are shooting 50 rounds, so you're continuously shooting rounds. So qualifying with a small caliber handgun does help out tremendously on being able to get through all 50 rounds.
Okay, that takes me to something that I didn't have planned to ask, but I know a lot of people have questions on people that have arthritis or issues with their hands.
Yes.
Maybe racking a weapon or loading their ammunition.
Mm-hmm.
So now they do have guns that are, and what do they call an easy? Something easy for.
Well, you've got a few different versions. The most common one is made by Smith & Wesson, and it's the M&P Shield 2.0 EZ version. You can get it in 380, or you can get it in millimeter. Now, since you brought that up, I'm fixing to get on a tangent just shortly. Don't do that. Don't. I see what you're doing there. I see what you're doing. And yeah, okay. So let me just discuss this real quick on this particular weapon. Okay.
Are we talking about the 380 or just the 2.0 easy?
The 2.0, the easy version. Okay. So this weapon, and a lot of people have this weapon. Okay. A lot of people have bought it, come out here and have done their qualification and have sold it right after their qualification. Okay, this particular weapon has what's called a backstrap safety. Okay, I don't own one, so I don't have one to demonstrate. But this particular weapon has what's called a backstrap safety. So on the back of the gun, you have to have basically the right grip to grip it
to allow it to shoot,
to engage, or to disengage. I would say the safety. So what happens a lot is if you may go to a gun shop and they talk it up real good. Hey, this is a safe gun. It's good for you. It's good for someone that don't have a lot of strength. And while that is the case, it is very good for someone that doesn't have a lot of strength in their hand. The weapon itself, it's not an unsafe weapon, but it's a weapon that you have to practice with. You have to know your grip. You have to train your grip, because if you grab that weapon real quick and your life depends on it, and the palm of your hand, when you grasp the
That backstrap.
the back strap of the safety. Uh, if you don't disengage that, if you don't hold it just right, and your life depends on it, you
You're
may
done.
not get that round off. So, um, while the gun's got its pros and cons, I would definitely recommend it to anybody that has issues with arthritis, carpal tunnel, or just is not able to grip the weapon real good anymore. So
Okay, so you said there's the pros and cons, right? Now, there's the question I have immediately is it something that you can, out of repetition, you learn how to grip it? So it's not a gun that if you're going to start shooting it, you take your qualifications with it, put it in a drawer. You need to practice the
absolutely
proper grip,
right.
which you would need to practice using your personal protection weapon anyway. But then you have I'm not up on the words like this. What's the little slide down for the easy load? What is that?
Oh, you're talking for the magazine?
Yeah, but what's that called? That
It's-
magazine? Because can't you get it for different guns? You don't have to have it.
No, not all manufacturers have that magazine for their gun.
But there's a spring that's a lot easier, is what I'm trying to say. Not the magazine part, but it's easier to load.
Correct.
Some people with difficulty with their hands would be able to utilize that easier.
Right. It's just basically it's an easy load magazine. Not all calibers have it, but basically it's got two places on each side of the. It's got a place on each side of the magazine. You pull it down and you basically drop your rounds in it. So, again, I don't own one.
We have a friend that has.
Wait, I take that back. We have a 22 that actually has that. Yeah.
No, we have a friend that has one of that easy, that Smith and Wesson
Right.
2.0 easy, and I think that she likes it. But then again, she got it because she wasn't real familiar with handguns, and she felt like it was a little struggle, not because she had issues with her hands. I need to read this real quick. Dana, thank you for chiming in and watching. It says, "I'm so glad to hear your discussion for arthritis sufferers. This has stopped me from getting my license, but now I'm encouraged to move forward."
Awesome.
Dana, if you have any questions about options to any way to adapt your gun or different ways to shoot, you should call Kevin because he's worked with quite a few people who have had challenges in this way. So please feel free to call, email, or whatever's best for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll help you work through any issues that you have. Yeah.
Okay, I'm so glad that you cut that short. That
Mm.
was great. Okay, next question.
Clown.
So, okay, so 22. We brought up 22, and I would like to cover this shortly because these questions are running long. But it seems like there's quite a few people enjoying these. So, 22s do have a place. It was always kind of frowned upon to carry a 22, and I'm going to tell you, my favorite pistol to carry, my favorite handgun is a 22 because it's less expensive to shoot. And it's just my favorite. It's just easy. There are some people, new shooters, and typically they are women. I am not profiling. I'm just saying the experience I've had has been with women, and they were friends of mine. Clown. So if you are intimidated by a 9mm, when you begin to shoot, if you find that the recoil's too much, maybe your wrists aren't strong enough, your hands aren't strong enough, it's just not comfortable to you with a 9. I mean, there's other options, of course, but we have found that offering a 22 as a starter handgun allows for a lot of desensitization of the boom, the recoil, and just handling the gun all around.
Right.
Wouldn't you? That's been a successful.
Yeah. I mean, and there are, and again, it's not just ladies. There are guys that come out and they've never been in a position they've shot a gun. They weren't raised around them, and all they think about kind of right off the bat is the big bang and the big recoil. And they think that they've seen all the videos, the bloopers where somebody shoots a gun and it knocks them to their butt.
The nose breaker.
Yeah, the nose breaker, or whatever the case may be, and that's not the case. We've had multiple issues where somebody was afraid of to shoot. and they were able to work through it by starting off with a 22. And those people actually come out here quite often now just to, they've gone from, actually let me just tell you one of the issues with somebody that we've had out here. So they wanted to start shooting, very scared to shoot. So actually, Angela had the wonderful idea. They thought they had to start off with, a 380 or a 9mm. So Angela actually got over to him that, hey, won't you just start off with a 22? An awesome idea. So anyhow, they purchased the 22. They came out, and when this
I
individual,
just want to say we have witnesses.
Yeah.
I got that.
Do you need to be alone for a minute?
Maybe.
Okay. And actually, one of the when they would come to the range, and again, it's 22. When they come to the range, I would go out and I'm teaching them how to shoot. They would want me to shoot the gun a handful of times, and we'd be out there for an hour, and they would want me to shoot it before they shot every single time, just so they could get used to the bang, which is perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Some people, it's not normal. It's alarming.
So we work with a lot of people that's kind of one of the things that we pride ourselves in is, we patience. I guess you have to have patience when teaching. So, but anyhow, so we'd be out there for an hour, and this person may have shot their gun maybe 2 rounds in an hour, and the rest of the time, they're wanting me to shoot it. So, that's and now this person comes out and they compete out here. We have some really cool.
Yeah, it's been a really awesome evolution of the, I don't know what you'd call that. I guess just desensitizing.
Well, they've been desensitized to it.
It's really great though, and there's an enjoyment,
to see them progress.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so not to drag out because we have another thing to cover here. The land nav course. We were asked to travel to put that on.
Yes. So we just I had an individual that did our online LTC course, and going through the website, they saw that we do that we teach land navigation, the basic and advanced land navigation. So in talking to this person, as the conversation went on, they asked me if we would actually travel to do this course. And actually, since then, we've had a couple other people that's asked the same thing. So, just to answer that, absolutely. It's if you live in an area that you can't make it here. Of course, there are expenses to it, but basically, to answer that question, yes, we do travel to put on the land navigation courses. There just needs to be an area around your area, that allows us to develop a course, real quick.
Yeah, there's requirements. If anybody would be interested in that, just reach out to Kevin. He can let you know kind of the basics that it would take in order to put that on. But I did want to touch base just a little, because sometimes people hear land nav course, right?
Yes.
And you're like, that's like so it's like a grunt course. It's not. It's not about going out and playing soldier or nothing like that. It's a pretty cool. It's really cool the way he's got it laid out. But the thing about it is it's good for hunters.
Right. Yeah. It's not only just for people preparing for doomsday. But
it's not even for that though.
Yeah.
It's for teaching you how to read a map. A lot of hunters can't. If they got lost, they couldn't find their way back home.
Right.
If they didn't have their cell phone.
Yeah. It's basically a use or lose.
It's a fun course, and it allows you to learn how to find the truck when you lose it.
Yeah. So it's, again, for hikers, it's a big deal for hikers. We have a lot of hikers that like doing the course. We have
remote camping,
backpackers,
maybe.
Remote camping, wilderness camping,
Boy
to where you're not
Scouts.
just camping right beside the main road, but you're actually traveling somewhere that, you've got a ways, or you like hiking, kind of making your own trails. So it's geared really towards that. However, our advanced course is really freaking cool. Okay, our advanced land nav course is actually designed as a military mission. Okay, so when you go through our advanced course, it's we've designed it around an actual mission. So you're using you're forced to use certain things. Certain things that we teach you. You talk on a radio. So you learn to kind of do all of that. It is really intuitive and it's really cool.
I think as the weather gets better, there's going to be a little more activity with like father and sons because I would love to see us do a promotion for like a father and son kind of, course,
Hmm.
just geared towards getting, or either mom and son, father and
Right.
daughter, but just like parent and child to get them out away from their phone and just,
Yeah.
just learn something, enjoy themselves. But okay, so I'm done.
Okay.
No more questions.
All right. So that's the main questions. So to basically wrap this up, again, kind of continued along with our what I call our church security program. I just wanted to real quick talk about our third step in this whole deal. The last episode we talked about two steps and it went kind of long. So I'm just going to talk about this real quick. In our program, step 3 is weapons policy. Okay. Um,
Okay,
what
wait. Hold on. I guess we should do this. So you've already established, and what our outline, I guess, is going to be going forward. Although we are excellent ad libbers, I think that so we'll have questions, and then we're going to try to pick up the next step of the policy or program that we have been talking about
right?
the week before. And so far, we've covered. You need a mission statement. You need to know.
Well, actually, I can tell you what the
I do not trust you to just go over the headlines.
standby troop.
Oh my God.
Okay, so in the last
Y'all
episode,
can take a coffee break. I'm just saying.
I'm about to get you big red shoes for you, and your nose, you big red nose clown. Okay, so in our last episode, we talked about intro to church security, 4 different parts to that: the theology, the mission statement, the vision, the team culture, and stuff. So that was the step 1. In step 2, we talked about building the security team, such as your organizational structure, your the team selection on how to vetting your people. We talked about the use of law enforcement officers a little bit, and we wrapped it up with talking about team size. So today the step three
Well done.
in all my stuff. You like how I didn't just keep on going with that.
Hasn't
Step
happened
3, we're
yet.
going to talk about just real quick. What's the weapons policy? The thing about your security program, and like I touched on last time, is not everyone has to be shooters. Not everyone in your program has to be a weapons carrier. Okay, if you have people that are very good with combatives, martial arts, or anything like that, that's something very good for what we'll talk about later. Are you playing Hangman?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Not this time.
I thought I looked over there and saw you. Anyway, we talked about what one of the things we'll refer to as the PPG, the Pastoral Protection Guard. So that person does not necessarily have to be a shooter. So anyhow, like I said, not everyone has to be shooters on your church security team. The weapons quals. One of the main things you want to do is once you pick your people out that are shooters, and when I say shooters, is just people that's carrying. So don't take that term the wrong way. The people in your security team that are carrying a weapon, one of the first things, actually part of your selection, is you need to do a weapons qual with them. Just because they've carried does not mean they can shoot.
No.
Just because they have a license does not mean they can shoot. So one of the things I picked out of a program that one of the ones that we were researching when we were building ours is a very good idea. 3 different things, or you can combine these. You can have everybody that's going to be carriers basically do the qual for the LTC qual. They may have already done it, but they may have because you no longer have to requalify to update your license.
Okay, so what are the shooting distances?
For the LTC qual,
Mm-hmm.
To do your qualification, you'll shoot. It's a total of 50 rounds. It's 20 rounds from the 3-yard line, 20 from the 7-yard line, and 10 from the 15. And it's a cumulative score of 175 out of possible 250.
Okay, so the reason I asked that question is because if you're going to be qualifying somebody, you need to know if that, and I would assume that the grading might be a little tougher if you're looking for people to shoot in a restricted area.
Right.
No, they can control that where they're shooting, but that's just the reason I asked is say, hey, this is a minimum that they
Right.
should be able to
Yeah,
do.
it's a minimum. So you can either do that or something that may help you out legally. Not only that, but something that may carry it a little bit further legally if something happens in your church and you are forced to use deadly force and engage somebody is actually if you have like a law enforcement officer on your team and they can come out and administer what the local qualification is for law enforcement. Of course, it wouldn't be like an official, but it's something that the church could put in their files that, hey, we had a law enforcement officer come out and they actually did the actual qualification that our local law enforcement has to go through. Or you can keep it, you can go with the state level qualification. Whatever the TCO qualification, whatever the
Something
state
that
is.
has merit
Yeah,
locally.
absolutely. But also, one of those things I'd personally add is what's called a fast drill, FAST. Um, it's a total of 6 rounds, and you can put a time limit on it. I would say at least 12 seconds, or a maximum of 12 seconds. And what that is you're shooting from 7 yards. With it being a time limit, there is a little bit of stress to it, but 7 yards, and basically what that drill is, and you can look it up on YouTube or anything, but it's the FAST drill. I don't remember who developed it, but it's something really simple. 2 magazines, one with 2 rounds, one with 4. You have 12 seconds to engage 2 rounds to the head and do a rapid reload and do 4 rounds to an 8-inch circle or 8-inch circle center mass. And you have to complete that in 12 seconds at a minimum of 7 yards. So, that's something that you could also put everybody through because, believe it or not, that sounds, it don't sound like a whole lot, but you wouldn't believe on how many people cannot do that.
The time, when you add the time
Mm-hmm.
restraint, that's a deal killer for a lot of people.
Right.
And if you can't handle the pressure of a timer, can you imagine if you can handle the pressure of a situation where you had to choose to shoot or not?
Right. That's right. So you never know what you'll do until you're in the moment. So also with your weapons policy, something you want to look at is your team training. I know ammo is not abundant right now, so it's a very good idea for if your church has the ability, or if your business, whatever it is, you're developing your team for, if they have the ability to buy airsoft weapons. And I'm not talking about your Walmart cheapos. I'm talking about legit airsoft guns. A lot of companies do training with airsoft, especially right now with the ammo being the way it is. And when I'm talking about the airsoft guns, I'm talking about like you're shooting like a minimum of 300 feet per second, and that's a fairly legit airsoft gun. So
these are replicated
right
for a purpose.
Right. There's very good ones that are actually licensed and sanctioned through Glock. That are the exact same frame that you would carry, your personal carry, your concealed carry. So we highly recommend using airsoft, one because it's you do have an upfront cost. They're usually around $250 to $200 a pistol. Then you've got your gas they run off of, but these weapons, they cycle like a regular weapon. So you do have your the cycle of the slide and everything, so it emulates a live weapon. And then you've got the cost of the plastic little BBs. Other than that's a very good training deal for your security team. When you run scenarios, shoot or no shoot scenarios, stress scenarios, whatever the case may be. So we highly encourage that. And then the last thing I want to talk about, this not necessarily the weapons, but it is part of the equipment, is radios for your members. So if you have a big enough church that you need radios, or if your church does events and stuff where people are kind of scattered around on your team, very good idea to equip them with radios and possibly earpieces. So something to look in. If you have any questions about any of that stuff, I've actually got all the information on all of it. If you would like it, just message me, get a hold of me, and I can tell you what guns that we recommend, the radios that we recommend, all the equipment and stuff that we recommend for that. So
Yeah, and also if you're If you're in an environment, whether it be your church home, whether it be where your place of employment, um, if you're in an environment where you feel like you need some sort of security protocol put into place where you do have a fallback if you are, if something misfortunate happens, if you need help, this is a service that we provide. So please reach out. And if you don't need us to do it for you, we may be able to give you the right information to help you help yourself. So
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so guys, I think that is we're getting out a little sooner than what we have been. So,
we're
anything else?
boring everybody. They can only watch us for so long.
I know we're not that exciting of people, but anyhow, well, with that, I think we're going to wrap it up. If y'all have any questions, again, always keep in mind this is a live format, so you can ask your questions, you can type them. I turned my phone off, so you can't call me or text me in the middle of it. So, but if you have a question, by all means, type it on whatever platform you're listening to. So hopefully, I believe next Thursday we're actually going to be able to start streaming to YouTube live. We've got that worked out. So we had to wait a 24-hour period for it. So.
If you have a question about something that you see on the podcast or at some other point after you watch it, you can email us or text Kevin or call or whatever. I mean, that's something that if you feel like you want to call and talk about it, say, hey, I saw this and it made me think about that, just give us a call, or you can email at any time after one of these podcasts.
Yeah. Me.
What?
Okay. One more thing I wanted to add. If you would like to be a sponsor of this live streaming broadcast, if you do gear or equipment or anything like that, you have something you'd like for us to test out and actually talk about on our show, we'll test it out. We do test a lot of gear and stuff out here. We do a lot of stuff. So if you have something if you'd like to become a sponsor of ours, we actually do have a section in this deal where we pause and talk about our sponsors. But we welcome that.
Okay, we have to bring this up again. So I think it's going to be. Don't smile at me. Don't smile at me. So I needed to reiterate the women's self-defense class.
Oh yeah.
Okay, this is the second week I've mentioned this because I really feel like everybody needs to pay. If you are looking for something, this is the class for you. Is it a 2-day class or a 1-day class?
Yes, it is a 2-day class.
So I'm going to be taking it. If that might scare people away.
It might.
Okay. So we looked at the calendar, and I do believe we're going to push to like March 20th to give us plenty of time to fill up space and to have 2 rooms if need be. Right?
Right.
Okay. So keep your eyes open for more information on that. And I'm good. I'm done.
Okay, guys. All right. Well, with that, we did have a few more viewers on this one than we did the last one. I don't think we had any on the last one because we had so many issues. So again, if y'all have any input for us, if you don't like what's back here, or if you can't really see it, because I'm not really sure what y'all are seeing, but anything. If you can't read any of this stuff right here, or you're not sure what it means or anything like that, man, let me know, because like I said, we're new at this, and I'm trying to make it as good as possible.
He freaking worries about it.
I do. I stress about this, man. I really do stress about this. So, but I want it to look as good as possible for y'all, and I want y'all to have good information. So, with that sound, I believe somebody's coming through the gate. Anyhow,
we gotta go.
Thanks a lot, guys, and again, we thank y'all so much for watching, and thank you so much for the support. We'll see y'all high noon next Thursday. Yeah.